Good afternoon. Um, Thank you for the invitation by platform to be here. I will show you a small intervention in a historical park in Vicenza. Our office is based in Venice, but I show you, I think, yes. And we are in the historical center of Vicenza, inside the biggest park that has the historical center that you see on the top of the map. It was originally a garden, a park of a villa, of a private villa, that became public at the beginning of the 70s as a public park. And as it was a private garden, was designed during the 18th and 19th century with a particular design of landscape. And a small part of this design, this providing of functions, was a complex of greenhouses that is a little bit different than the usual greenhouse that you can find in the villas in the Veneto, that usually has a cold greenhouse for lemon, orange, or this kind of plants. This greenhouse was divided in two parts, one warm or hot, and one cold. This is the situation as it was during the beginning of the 80s, after that the park became public, but nobody take care of the structures. And this the situation 5 years ago when we start this project. It remains just some walls, some brick walls. The main wall of the structure probably was is a wall of a convent of the 15th century, and a small tower with a small called Belvedere, made during the beginning of the 19th century. And this is the view as it was, the original situation. The condition was not so good of these elements. Even if the long wall of the convent was in a better situation than the other walls made later. And this is a plan to understand the organization of the function. On the left, you see the hot greenhouse, warm greenhouse, and on the right, the cold greenhouse. The system, the structure of the greenhouse has a unique facade, now made with this wood elements, that unify the hot part and the cold part. And this is very interesting because it's not so usual, as I said, because this part, the warm greenhouse, has some oven under the floor that brings some hot air under the place to put the plants and this kind of things. And so when we start this project, we understand that we have to transform the structure to something that became open and improve the amenities of the public park. And so we call this first recognition as a serra aperta, or open greenhouse, to transform this structure in something different, open to the public, and as a place to meet. At the beginning, we work on this idea to keep some distance from the existing and older wall, and to realize some roof to protect the survived elements. And so we start with this interrogation about this, how can work this kind of structure, also finding a strategy to realize a kind of exoskeleton, also to have as less as possible of foundation or point to touching the ground. This because from an entrance to the park, you are on the back of this system of the greenhouses, and so we imagine also to transform all the structure in a new condition of permeability of possible to entrance also to both sides. And so for that, this is an image of all the intervention. So a ramp that can enter to the complex through the small tower, the new greenhouses, the renovated greenhouses, as a new structure that hosts services and a bar, a kiosk for the park. I go through quickly. And so this idea to have a structure that entering inside the building has less points to touch the ground, and also letting to read the wall, the older wall on the back. Some image on the other sides, and this some a cross section that show this idea of a exoskeleton that brings suspended the roof, and also as a screen that realize finally the facade of the volume, the front of the volume. This screen also can open or close it depending the weather conditioning. This is the south side. And also some consideration about using the steel structure to have a quick way to assemble the structure on site. And as we had a very, how do you say, a very low budget for the intervention, so also a work on industrial profile that was very cheap, but studying the way to assemble it to construct the new image of this complex. And also introducing some system elements on the basement on the glass facade. Also, we have the possibility to work with some experimentation with the Heritage Office, and doing some experimentation about to put some acid on the galvanized steel to realize this element. And so the start to assembly, all this building site cross directly the pandemic period, but in some way with this kind of strategy also we need a very less number of people together to work, and so we had the building site without strong stops. And some image of the completed intervention. We completed just the first phase of the greenhouse properly, and now we are on a building site with the small tower and the ramps on the back. The relationship with the resistance, and the first part of the amenities built, these services, and this public way in front of greenhouses, also connected with some main important vegetation element. And so inside this, this is the roof that contains all the system that is suspended by the exoskeleton. Not completely, and we clean the ancient wall just to become a front, interior front of the spaces. And this is the screen from inside and from outside. And this became from some distance some mysterious element that also can open and transform itself, letting the people go through. Thank you.